record what you're doing?
Yep. So what I did is I made a circle at the intersection because what I'm trying to do is create a soft blend here that I have control over. So I'm going to trim it. And then I'm going to do a blend curve. Now I can do there are two choices here. I have quick blend curve and adjustable. Quick blend curve allows me to have these handles right here that I can grab and change. I can grab them one at a time and adjust it subtly that way. Or I can hold down the shift key and pull them symmetrically. Okay? 90% of the time, Christy, that's the one you're going to want to use. However, there are times you'd want to use the other. I'm going to trim over here as well. Let's say that you've got a symmetrical design like you have, and you're not sure how you want it to look. So you'll do blend curve, and this time you'll do quick blend curve. No fun handles. Okay. Then you're going to hit record history. Mirror it over. Now anything I do to this piece over here will happen over there as well. See? Okay. That includes an end bulge command. So I can type in end bulge. You just type in the first 3 letters and it'll come up. Now I get the same little handles I had before.
Okay.
But when I adjust them,
it happens to both sides. Okay.
Okay. So that's about the only time you'd want to use that variation of that command. Usually it's going to be adjustable blend curve. Monsieur Thurs.
I'm not going to interrupt.
Okay. Okay, so that's what that's what's going to resolve that situation. Okay? Now what's going on here? How come these aren't coming down? I'm going to go ahead and join these together. Is that a good enough curve for you?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. How come these are coming down off center? Is that intentional?
No, not at all.
Okay. So if you want them to come down centered, you need to have some kind of reference as to where center is.
Okay.
What can we use easily give you a midpoint on this?
One of your snaps?
Yeah, I'll use an object snap, but there isn't one in the middle here. Well, there might be. I don't know what the math of this is. This could be 2 curves. It could be 1 curve. It's probably 1 curve. So if I tried to put an edit point on here or a marking point, yeah.
Oh, you know, that's actually not.
But look, it isn't. It isn't the middle. And you've also created the top line of this using that same wonky technique.
It's not straight.
Which means I'm going to go ahead and clean that up very quickly. Straight line from this intersection, not from that intersection. I'll do it from this intersection. Both sides, just make it big enough to do whatever has to be done. Okay? I'm going to explode both of these. I'm going to pull these 2 curves out because I think I want to keep them. And I'll pull these 2 curves out because I think I want to keep them. I'll delete the rest.
And you just did Control D?
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to... Oh, actually, I just held down to Control and clicked.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm going to fillet the ends of these. I'm going to set the radius to 0.
Oh, yes. That's how you
I'm going to turn off the F. That's how you get a nice, clean cut.
Okay.
For these 2... it's going to be a little trickier because once I do that, it's going to pull it away from there. So I'll pull it back, and then I'll pull it again, and I'll pull it back. Now I could do it. There are other ways I could do it, but that's just as fast as any. Then I'll use trim to cut out the middle. Now you got around these edges. You can do a fillet once again, or you can do the same thing we did there. I'll do the same thing we did there just for the repetition of it. Circle, center, radius. That's pretty good. I'm going to mirror that over.
Okay.
Trim those 2. Curve, blend curve, adjustable. Actually, I quite like how that looks, but I'll go ahead and play with it a little bit. Mirror that over, join these together, call that good, delete this, mirror this straight across, use that to trim off the ends, radius set to 0. See how blindingly fast and easy it is.
And what if I wanted these shapes to read as rounded off pieces of metal, like a half round piece of metal?
Well, the only way unless it's curved at the top, the only way you're going to see that is from the side view.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, actually, you'd see it from the end view. Where you would see that is at the end.
Okay. Straight across.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to now bring these down here.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that they are the same basic length, same basic treatment. So I'm going to just F2 here. They won't end in the right place, but I'm cool with that. I don't really care. I'm going to grab them both. I'm going to move them straight down using intersect. Right there. To right there, and that'll be close enough. Throw away what you had originally. Do my fillet again. Set to 0 so it trims and cleans up as it goes. Okay, so that is now all
Okay, so and after you
perfectly straight. I'll join that together.
and before you had filleted, you couldn't have joined it because
They were overlapping at the ends.
Okay.
So I could have just done trim, but it would have taken a lot longer. Fillet was set to 0. It was a very fast trim tool.
Okay.
Very quick way to clean up your drawing. I'm going to assume that we have some wonkiness at the bottom of these as well. It seems like all your verticals you did with a straight line, and all your horizontals you did with something else. Yeah, okay.
Because I was trying to like see which different one would
Yeah.
work better.
Yeah, that's fine. And it's good to experiment. You did not do a single thing wrong. It's just I'm going to clean it up. Explode those. Take the bottom off by holding down Control and dragging a window. Join the rest of them. Oh, unable to join. Okay, nothing to join up there. Cool. Gonna throw these away. Gonna do my fillet.
Oh, set to 0.
Yep, set to 0. Gonna do the same thing where
How do you bring that line back?
by commanding it to do fillet over here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's going to extend it to reach wherever I tell it to go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll go back through that again. So I did my first fillet here.
Okay.
I did my second fillet here. That gave me the right lengths here. Now I'm going to do my fillet here.
Okay.
That'll cut it back to here. But I still need it over there. Now I've dragged it all the way to this line. I didn't have to. I could have done this line.
Okay.
But it still wouldn't come all the way across. So to get it all the way across again, I got to come back over here, and it'll extend it.
Okay. And then you can just trim. How do you trim how would you trim inside there?
Right here, I pre-select, hit trim.
Select each of the sides. Okay.
Now if I didn't pre-select, in class we voted to pre-select. If we're not going to pre-select, I would hit trim and then read the line.
Okay.
Select cutting objects. I want to cut with this and this. Press enter when done.
See, because when I was
Select object to trim.
select cutting object, I selected that line, so it cut off the whole line. It's
Yep.
just such little subtle things, man.
Yes, they do.
God.
But once you get used to it, Christy, you do it automatically.
Yeah.
I'm going to put these on the blue layer. There.
Cool.
We are looking a lot tidier, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is not centered. Okay. I believe that this is a midpoint right here.
It's supposed to be. It doesn't necessarily. These are going to be hanging off the front, so they'll be attached.
But you do want them centered.
You think it'd look better centered? Okay.
Yep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create... Circles are marvelous measuring tools in Rhino.
Okay.
I'm going to take a circle diameter.
Oh, and go. Yep.
Grab here and here. Okay.
And then find the
I'm just going to throw that one away because I'll be mirroring this one over.
Yeah.
And then move. Going to use center snap. And now I right click for center so I have nothing else selected.
Yeah.
And then I want to get rid of center because it's a sticky snap. It messes with things.
Okay.
And I'll come back over and right click on mid. I'm looking for the middle of that line.
Okay.
Now it's centered. I'll mirror that over. Okay, so now I've got these where I want them. This is still too wide.
Oh, you just centered these in the middle of here.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Transform, non-uniform scale. The short flat one.
And that'll-
Origin point. Yeah, it wants to know where I'm. Remember, all scales want 3 clicks. They want where it begins from, how big it is now, how big do you want it.
Okay.
I want it to start here. How big is it now? I can click anywhere. Just Rhino's going to document that that's my first click. Now, I don't want to click just anywhere because I have a specific place I want it to go. I want where this intersection happens now to end up in the middle.
Okay.
So how big it is now, I'm actually going to pick a specific spot. I'm going to say, okay, that's how big it is now.
Okay, because you have mid snap on.
Yeah, click over to mid.
Okay.
Now, it's still not done. It's going, how big do you want it this direction? Remember, non-uniform scales 3 different directions separately. So you check and see what's here. If this says 1, that means 100% in Rhino.
Okay.
You're good. You just hit enter. And look at Z. If it says 1, you're good. Hit enter. If it says anything else and you hit enter, it'll scale it that much. It remembers what you scaled last time.
Okay.
So you always want to double check. There you go.
Oh, perfect. That looks a lot better.
Now you don't need these. You don't need this.
So you move those into a new layer? Or you just delete them?
I just delete them.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident I won't need them again.
But should I save
As
them?
for you, you might want to hang on to things. And what I usually do, Christy, is I have a layer that I make a color I don't like, which is dark green. Don't know why I hate dark green, but I do. I take it all the way to the bottom.
Junk.
Yeah, junk, or I call it storage curves.
Okay.
Because then I make another one. I don't like black layers either. I find them hard to see. So I call that storage objects. So when I'm building a model, any piece of 3-dimensional geometry I want to hang on to, I put on the storage objects. Any curves I want to hang on to, I put on the storage curves. And then these are automatically always shut off so I don't see them.
Okay.
Yep. So that way I can grab this whole construction line thing, for example. I would group them so I can get them back in one piece later. And I would put them on storage curves.
Cool.
You know, and then when I want them back, they're right there. And then I just change layer Control D using our class shortcuts, and it's back. Okay? So.
And now for the bottom, you could just mirror the top to the bottom, and then you.
Yes. Now, what is the bottom?
Right here.
But what do you want it to look like? Do you want the same thing coming down?
It's supposed to be just a black sheet of metal.
Okay. All right. And it comes all the way down. Does the hole come down too?
No, that's a stone.
Okay, so now that I've got that, what I need to do then, Christy, is I need to find the midpoint on these. That's going to be easy to do. I'm just going to offset through point, and I'm going to look for mid. Here it is. I'm going to use this to trim off that curve. Not that one. This one. Grab.
Oh, no. Actually, I'm sorry. That is the bottom. These hang longer than this.
Yes.
That's the... Yeah, that is the bottom. Okay.
So I don't need to do anything more.
No.
Is this supposed to be... This is a piece of flat metal.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a thickness. So then to finish your drawing up...
So you wouldn't necessarily see these were rounded until it's rendered in 3D.
Or you did your front view. Your end view.
Oh, yeah. Like you're
So if I do... Actually, I'm going to leave those up there for a minute because they're useful for this. Okay. But I'm going to put this on your layer. How's your stone set?
In the metal, like...
So it's flush set?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now if you're going to do an end view of this thing, technical drafting in Rhino is so much nicer. Although we got to cut this off pretty quick.
That's okay. This has been really helpful already.
I'm going to come down just far enough, basically. Okay. I'm going to extend this curve down. To do that, extend curve is a marvelous command. It's just very confusing because it has a ton of different options. But the very first option is to select a boundary object. So I'm going to do that and hit enter. And then click what I want to extend.
Okay.
Easy. Okay, so now I'm going to bring all the relative information down into the front view. End and intersect are useful, primarily. Using both sides, through point. I got to decide how thick I want this to be. You've got how many elevations? 3. back sheet, middle sheet,
Yep.
raised surface, right?
Mhm.
Is this to scale or not?
Yes, it should be.
Okay, so if
It's
I,
on 50 millimeters.
so how big is this? 15 millimeters long?
Yeah, it should be.
So how thick do you want that back sheet? 1.2?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's actually really thin.
Really? Maybe 2 millimeters for the back.
Okay, so there we go. We'll start with that, and then and it ends here. So I'm going to bring, but actually, I don't need to have that down here because I'm going to assume this piece is solid. Now, are these flexible on the front? You said.
Mhm.
Okay, then I do need that. I need to know where it ends,
Yep.
and it ends right there.
Yes.
Going to use my fillet. Set to 0. And I'll use trim here, just because I don't want to lose those construction lines necessarily. Actually, no, I can lose them because they aren't useful anymore. I'm actually doing the wrong part. Come on, fill it. I don't want that width. I want this width.
Yep. Okay.
There's your back sheet.
Mhm.
Okay. Now we're going to give the thickness for the things floating on top.
You just do another offset.
Yeah, straight down. Grab the top of this. We're probably going to give it a little bit of breathing room so it can move.
Yeah.
1/10 of a millimeter, which will be barely visible, but
So you
it's
just
there.
did the move command?
Yeah, I did that move.
Yep.
When you hit M, enter, you can constrain this.
Okay.
You can constrain it by holding Shift to make it ortho.
Yep.
You can constrain it by typing backwards arrow and a numerical value
Okay.
to constrain angle. But you can also constrain distance. Point to move from, click. Question mark, question mark, question mark. It wants to know where you want to go to. If I type in 0.1,
Okay.
I can go any direction I want, but I can only go 0.1.
Okay.
If I hold down Shift,
Then you can only go at 90 degrees.
that's right. So I've got exactly 0.1. Okay, so I've got these coming down. Since it's symmetrical, I only have to work one side. So the thickness on that, what do you feel?
1.5 probably.
So thinner than this?
Or do you think it should be thicker? Probably thinner, right?
It's flat
Not
still?
the top sheet.
It's still flat?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So I'll just measure it from here. Now I can do a copy. Transform, copy. Point to copy from. Once again, I can type in a distance.
Okay.
So I'm going to type in,
1.5.
type in 1.7. Let's split the difference.
Okay.
1.5. You can change your mind. Rhino takes the last number you type.
Okay.
So I got that. Use my fillet command. Tidy that up.
And then you
Now
measure it.
now I need this piece.
Yep.
The piece you were the most curious about.
God, this is so simple compared to mechanical drafting.
Thank you.
my
The light
God.
has gone on. Rhino is your friend, Christy.
Yeah, it's my friend. For sure.
To do this, since I don't know how much of a dome I want, I'm going to do an ellipse diameter. I'll grab an intersection here. Yes.
Morning.
Morning.
See you
1 o'clock.
before,
Okay.
so you and I could just sit down and just go over what's to expect.
okay.
Expected of you.
So should I do that in your office here or upstairs in C815?
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go up there a few minutes early, probably in the office here.
Okay, I'll meet you in the office then.
Later.
Thank you, Selena. So, I'm going to do a diameter ellipse. So that's when you click the outside ends and the outside ends.
Mhm.
There are two ways to draw an ellipse, that way or the one where you draw it from the middle. The one where you draw it from the middle isn't as useful for what we need right now, because I know exactly how wide I want it. The reason I picked an ellipse instead of a circle is I can decide exactly how tall I want that to be. Does that look good?
Yep. That's great.
Take this, trim the back of it off.
Awesome. And there it is.
And there it is. Mirror it over.
Oh my gosh.
Got an extra one of those in the mix, yeah. And I don't need this anymore.
The edges.
Put this on your drawing color.
Awesome. Wow, that looks great.
Turn off your construction lines.
And then you could just do another ellipse for the stone.
Yeah. Well, the stone doesn't even... Actually, you wouldn't put it here unless it's going to be shown set.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's something you got to think about, because flush setting a cabochon is more difficult.
It's actually a faceted stone.
If it's faceted, you have problems.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not going to fit in there.
It's got to have... It's going to hang out the back.
Yeah.
So you've got to engineer that. I would probably put it in a bezel.
You would.
Yeah. So how big is this stone now?
Could I inset a bezel in that sheet of metal?
It's to the bezel is to get it up away from the metal, so you have some depth for the pavilion.
Okay.
How big is this stone supposed to be?
Just a tiny one, like.
It's an 8mm diameter stone. So if we put a 0.5 millimeter bezel on it.
8 millimeters is huge.
If we put a half millimeter, no, not really, not for a cab. Okay, you could even go a little more than that. You could go 3/4 millimeter. That's nice. Then all you need to do is in your front view, curve, offset, both sides, through point, quad. Remember, every circle has 4 quads.
Yeah.
Grab, there's the width, and then we just decide how thick we want that bezel to be. Transform, copy, point from, and we'll just hold down the shift key and watch where we think it should go. I would probably take it about there. I think it should still be lower than these guys.
Yeah.
And then fill it. And trim. And put it all on the drawing layer.
Done.
Yeah. Now if you want to put a stone in there at this point, you would do the offset both sides through point again. Grab the quadrant of the stone. Come down here. Your stone has to sit down inside the bezel. So I would draw where the seat's going to be. Copy, shift key. Oh, for a stone that size, I'm going to say about there. And curve tools, ellipse, diameter, intersect. Here, here. About like that. And we don't see the bottom half of the stone. It's hidden by the bezel. We don't see that. We just put it in place so we would know how big the stone would be.
Cool.
If you wanted to dimension this thing,
if you wanted to facet it, you just draw straight lines and connect them all.
yeah,
them all? Okay.
yeah. Although, yeah, that would be a different looking. Oh, yeah. If you want, we did this so you could do it. So you could do a non-cabochon. My bad. You would draw this. You'd actually draw the stone, but we're not going to do that because we don't have time.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to save this.
Cool.
Documents. FIT 1516, Spring 16, J238, and Christy gets her own folder. And I call these, I label them by the date.
Cool.
I misspelled your name, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh no, or did I? Is your name with K or C?
With a Y at the end.
Oh, CH, okay.
Same pronunciation.
Christy, and it's February 16. Office hour, OH.
Cool.
So I will send you this,
Awesome.
and I will send you